Mariachi.
El Mariachi for $7,000.
Who said he made El Mariachi for $7,000. But then once I got involved, too far involved in making my movie, I found out that once they finished blowing it up from 16 millimeter to 35 millimeter, changing it from Spanish to English, cleaning up the dialogue, editing this and that it was actually probably a $100,000 movie.
Really?
Unfortunately, I had already committed to making a $7,000. I wanted to make a $6,998 movie. I wanted to make it for $2 less.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just to spite him. All right.
Just to spite him.
And what happened? How much did yours cost? Actually, $7,000 or?
You know, when I first ran the numbers, it came out at $35 flat. There was the entire thing. But then we had a computer with one of those Pentium chips. It actually, the final figure was in fact $65,937.32. So it is by far the most expensive $7,000 movie in motion.
This is your own personal water world. This is a debacle for you.
This was a complete debacle. And there's no possibility of ever earning any money back from it because it's not actually a very good motion picture.
Boy, you're great at promoting this film, aren't you? That's a great quote.
But it's a fantastic book. It's an absolutely great book.
Okay,
yeah.
the book. Yes,
and,
the book
and one
is
thing, the movie is in English. It isn't in Spanish. So, so if Miramax decides to buy it, they won't have to dub it into English.
Okay, terrific. These are great blurbs you can put in the advertisement.
Well, great.
It's terrible, and it's actually in English.
And it's about 12-step programs.
Okay.
So it reaches out to it's a murder mystery. It's about a psychiatrist who's found brutally murdered, and all of his patients are in 12-step programs. So the cop has to figure out whether it's the cokehead, the overeater, the woman who loves too much, or the credit card addict who committed the murder.
Okay.
And the cop investigating the murder, who I play, whose name is Turk Bishop, Where'd you get
that name?
Well,
Turk Bishop.
It's kind of an Irish, I'm Irish, so it's kind of an Irish-American name. And Turk, I don't know where that came from. Some movie I saw on 14th Street.
You Irish are crazy. Yeah. All right. Well, let's, now, is this thing, the key to success with a small, low-budget movie is actually to get it into a film festival. Have you gotten it into any?
My film won first prize at the first Tarrytown International Film Festival.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. And I also won, thank you. And of course, it won.
The first Tarrytown Film Festival, whose festival is that?
It's a festival that was held about 100 yards from my house in a high school in Tarrytown. But there was a jury. I mean, there was a jury.
Okay, well, how many films were in the festival, entered?
Well, there was just the one film, but we didn't want to confuse the issue. I mean, nobody wants to see some French film noir thing, so we just had the one movie, and we had a jury that I handpicked, including my sister-in-law who's French, and my brother-in-law, and a guy who worked on Ishtar.
How'd you find him? Yeah, all right. Well, now did you what's interesting is you use your neighbors in this film. I was watching some of this thing.
And you knew they were my neighbors.
I knew that.
Right?
Well, you could tell you found them somewhere.
Well,
they didn't seem like actors to me.
Look. They didn't look like actors. Okay. When you're making a low-budget movie, my philosophy is if you can't get Nicholson, use your neighbors. Because none of your neighbors are going to be worse actors than Lou Diamond Phillips or Emilio Estevez. And sorry.
Actually, you managed to name the two celebrities who are sitting in the audience tonight watching the show.
Okay. Those guys named Corey. None of your neighbors are going to be worse than Corey Haim.
Corey Haim isn't great, but if you say a bad word about Corey Feldman, you got a big problem. Okay. He's a great thespian.
The one guy named Corey. And none of my neighbors look any worse than Streisand. So you might as well just use them,
He said it. I'm sitting over here. All right. You also use your son in this picture.
My son walked. My son.
Your son walked out on you?
My son quit. You read the book, The Kid Stays in the Picture? The kid didn't stay in this picture. My 7-year-old kid just said, I don't want to be in this movie anymore. I want to be out of this movie. So, I said, look, kid, the kid can't leave his dad on the beach, It's one of those Oliver Stone type lines. And he just said, no, I don't want to be in this movie. So we had to rewrite all of his lines and give them to his sister.
Okay.
And I'll tell you.
So you're an improviser. You did well. In moments of crisis, you improvise, and that's how you succeed.
Well, the truth of the matter is, this airs late. My kid won't see it. He's a terrible actor, and he had a poisonous attitude, and I was actually glad to see him leave the motion picture, Plus, I didn't have to pay him anything. And he actually doesn't look that much better than Streisand.
Okay. We got a clip here we're going to show.
This is early in the movie. In every low-budget movie, you have to have a scene where something happens to or near a man's groin. So this is a scene where something unpleasant happens in that general
I understand
area.
there's a secret to this scene that
There's bloodshed.
There's actually you actually hurt the person making this.
I didn't hurt him. The guy who stabbed him, the actor
well,
from
you're
my
making
neighborhood.
the movie. The actor, someone actually gets hurt. This is a real cry of pain.
This is a real cry of pain.
Okay, let's enjoy this great work of cinematic art.
Ah! You lunatic!
What do you think? Is that dialogue great or what?
There's a new policy here. Check the clips before they go on the air.
Yeah, and that was, and basically what happened there was we did it with a plastic Bowie knife 3 times, and it worked, but it didn't look real. So then we did it with a real Bowie knife, and, and when we did it with a real Bowie knife, it looked and sounded real. Okay. Because it was really happening. 3 inches closer, and he never would have been good to a woman again. Not that he ever was before. Do you have any friends? Does anybody love you? All right, well, the unkindest cut, how a hatchet man, which one should I read it from? So stupid. The unkindest cut, how a hatchet man critic made his own $7,000 movie and put it all on his credit card by Joe Queenan is available everywhere. Check it out. Thanks a lot for coming. Thanks a lot.
Good to have you, Joe. We'll take a break. We'll be right back.